Here's everybody there. There's me. And there's Thomas.
I think it's fair to say that during World War II, there was a very high sense of purpose. The country had a very clear vision of its own standing, of its own morality. Friedrich St. Florian. My sources are www.brainyquote.com, www.aggietraditions.tamu.edu, www.myaggienation.com, www.brainyquote.com again, www.en.wikipedia.org, and my own personal testimonial. Texas A&M had the highest number of soldiers from any of the military academies that served in World War II. They are who Reveille represents. Now, the story of how Reveille became who she is and got to campus goes like this. One day in spring of 1932, a group of Aggie Band members were going back from a performance back to College Station. They were driving in a Model T car and they saw something in the middle of the road just too late, and they hit it. So they stopped and got out and looked, and it was a dog that they had hit. They expected that it would be, dead or something along those lines, but the dog had a broken leg that it was holding up and smiling, cheering, looking like it was having a good time. And this is really what represents Rev, or a very good characteristic statement of Rev, because she's always spunky, always happy, no matter what's going on. So that night, they took her back to their dorm to help nurse her back to health, and so they stayed with them in Leggett Hall. Next morning was just like every other morning. They woke up, they PT'd, got cleaned up, and they formed up for formation. Now, at every formation, they play the Reveille bugle call, which is a military tradition. And at the sound of this, Reveille, or the dog, started barking and going crazy, and she loved it. So much so to the point where they nicknamed her Reveille, and it's stuck ever since then. Now, Rev was a girl. Reveille, the original Reveille was a girl. And that was very significant because at the time it was an all-male military college, Texas A&M was, and there was no females allowed to attend it. So she was the first female allowed to stay on campus. Since then, every preceding Reveille has always been a girl and always will be. Man does not control his own fate. Women in his life do that. Groucho Marx. So, today, Reveille is a cadet general, but a 5-diamond cadet general, but she was not always like that. Because A&M had the largest portion of officers from any military academy in World War II, they were very distinguished and had gained a lot of honors. Specifically, there were 8 Medal of Honor winners from World War II that went to A&M alone. Now, during World War II, or towards the end of World War II, the Rev that they had come to love so much passed away from old age. And they had a tough decision to make, whether or not they should continue on the tradition or not. Now, there's 2 sides to this. On the one side, it would be hard to replace such an amazing dog who had such high, great energy and showed so much love for everyone. On the other side, it would be hard to completely lose that presence on A&M because she was so positive and everyone loved her so much, so they wanted to keep that presence going. So they decided to get a new Rev and start searching for a new Rev. But ultimately what happened was, for the second Rev, she was donated by a former cadet. Now, the freshmen are the heartbeat of the Corps, as they say, because the freshmen are where most of the training is focused. So it's kind of like a battle between freshmen and upperclassmen. And also between upperclassmen, but mainly it's upperclassmen versus freshmen. And Rev was the only good thing that the freshmen had going. The only positive anything that they had because, it was pretty much everyone against them besides their buddies. And so Rev was loved very much so by the freshmen and upperclassmen alike. So the cadets decided to continue the tradition of reveille and also honor the men who served in World War II at the same time. Now, at the time, there was a promotional event where you could buy a rank for an animal from the Army. So the entire Corps scraped up together $100, which at the time was a lot of money, and bought two different ranks, one 2-diamond rank and one 3-diamond rank. And they put them together to make a 5-diamond cadet general rank. And this is the only rank in the entire nation in any cadet corps that is 5 diamonds. So she is the highest ranking official in any cadet corps in the nation. Now, her role on campus is a little different nowadays because, there's more women allowed on campus. There's people who are not in the Corps. So she is a public figure who still shows the same amount of, happiness and love, and everyone loves her and all that. But she's more for everyone now instead of the freshmen. Since the original Rev, there was an outfit created entirely for the purpose of taking care of Rev. Now this is called E2 Mascot Company. As you can imagine, many traditions have developed within this outfit because of reveille. One well-known tradition is if Rev lays in your bed, it's no longer your bed. She gets that bed. You got to get out and lay on the ground. She gets to sleep in the comfort. Another tradition is the Rev block. For every football game that Rev went to, she would be accompanied by one handler and the entire freshman class who were locking arms together and formed a block around Rev for protection so that no one could get to her or anything like that. This has been taken away since then because we have traveled to certain places that aren't as hospitable and would throw things at the freshmen and everyone. So we decided to take away that tradition because of the amount of injuries that were sustained from it. Now, since this tradition was taken away, the freshmen their role in serving Rev has been completely flipped. They used to be all about treating Rev and serving for her. Now it's the opposite. Freshmen aren't even allowed to know the word reveille. They're not allowed to know a lot of things, including her name, the words dog, stick, bone, wolf, bark, collar, leash, and many, many more. Also, the freshmen are not allowed to see her. So what this means is if you're walking around a corner and you even think that Rev might be there, you turn around and sprint the other way because you are not allowed to see her, not allowed to know anything about her. Now, Rev always stays busy. She has countless events every single day that she has to go to, at least 2, either on or off campus. The handler who takes Rev to class usually leaves about 30 to 45 minutes early because they're going to get stopped by at least 2 or 3 different people. They're going to get stopped by at least 2 or 3 different people to take pictures and get to see Rev. Now, her role might be slightly different today, but overall, she is still a very positive energy for all the freshmen and for everyone else. So, in conclusion, reveille is a living memorial of all the men who served and died in World War II, and she is one of the most iconic figures at Texas A&M and the most important dog in the nation. She is loved by everyone. She represents a beacon of light for all the students, and she shows her love to any and everyone that asks for it.